everyone! In today's video, I'm going to share some of my favorite tips, tricks, and strategies for playing American Mahjong. Whether you're a beginner just learning the game or you've been playing for a while and want to improve your strategy, these tips can help you make smarter decisions, build stronger hands, and hopefully win more games. Let's get started! When the east wind breaks the wall, she will count the number on the dice from right to left, where the nail is on the pusher, to break the wall, and then she will deal everyone 4 tiles, starting with herself going to the right, or each person can draw their own tiles. The wall goes to the left while the play goes to the right. The dealer will repeat this process 2 more times until everyone has 12 tiles. The dealer will give herself the top first and third tile and then give everyone else a tile. This gives the dealer or east wind 14 tiles and everyone else 13 tiles. When you are dealt the tiles, organize them in suits and in numerical order. Before the Charleston begins, see if you have a pattern. Do you have some winds? Do you have any dragons or flowers? Do you have any pairs? Do you have a lot of even numbers? Do you have a lot of odd numbers? Do you have numbers that are the same? Do you have numbers that are consecutive? If you have a pattern going on, save those tiles until after the Charleston. If you see more tiles are added to your hand, then you can go to that section of the card to see how to use those tiles. Don't overthink the Charleston. I see a lot of players try to figure out their hand even before the Charleston begins. Try to find a pattern. Your hand can change 2 to 3 times at the end of the Charleston. I like to save my winds and dragons because when doing the Charleston, players seem to pass those tiles. If I see a pattern that is a sure thing, then I may pass the winds and dragons also. When doing the Charleston, you should wait until everyone has received their tiles from the other person before picking up to see what you have. Some people take more time to decide which tiles to pass, so when everyone has their tiles, you can look at them. If you pick up the tiles as soon as you get them, you get ahead of yourself. Then you pass the next 3 tiles before the others have received the first set. At this time, you may forget where you are in the order of the Charleston. So just wait to see when everyone has completed their passes, because the Charleston can be confusing. There are 8 flowers, so when I get some of those flowers, I will try to use them in my hand. I do not pass the flowers during the Charleston, but some people do, and when I get them, I see what hands have the flowers that are in my grouping. When doing the second pass of the Charleston, I put a cap on top of the group of 3 that I'm passing. With the 3 tiles that I want to pass, I will also place the tiles in front of me in the direction of where the tiles will be going. This reminds players where to go next. During the Charleston, you always have to pass 3 tiles, but if you don't have 3 tiles to pass, you can do a blind pass to get your 3 tiles on the first left or the last right. Most times, if you do a blind pass on the first left, it is because you don't have enough tiles to continue with the second passes of the Charleston. This is when you can stop the Charleston. Anyone can stop the Charleston after the first left. Usually after the Charleston, you should have some sort of an idea of what grouping you will be working on. After the Charleston is complete, you have the option to trade up to 3 tiles with the person across from you. If I have 2 hands going on and have to discard a tile, I will count how many tiles will go for Mahjong in each hand. If there is more in one hand than the other, then I will go with the larger hand. You may also have 2 different hands that are developing. Sometimes I'll have 7 tiles in each hand. Then I have to decide which hand to work with. Lots of times I end up going with the wrong hand, discarding the tiles, then getting more tiles toward the hand I decided against. That happens to everyone. If I have to decide between the two hands, I will go with a hand that I can use jokers with. I will avoid a hand with singles or pairs unless I have them in my rack already. When pushing out the wall that is in front of you, I like to put a tail at the end of the wall. That is the part of the wall that is closest to you. The opposite end shows where the beginning of the wall is and where to pick your tile from. When you're playing with friends, you will talk to them and you may forget who was the last person to play. To avoid this, the person discarding the tile can place the tile standing on top of her rack until the conversations are finished. When the questions come up, whose turn is it? The person that was going to discard can now play her tile and the game continues. You always want to rack your tile when you draw it from the wall. You want other players to hear the sound of that racking. This stops the play of the game. Once you have racked it, you can place it where it needs to go or discard it. This is a habit you should get used to doing all the time. If a tile has been thrown out and you pick up a tile from the wall but do not rack it, another player can call for the previous tile that was discarded. You will have to place that tile back on the wall, even if it is a tile that you need or a joker.
8 dot. Wait, I want that 8 dot.
Darn it! Could have gotten a joker on that one. If you have a tile for an exchange with a joker, you must draw the tile from the wall first, then exchange the tile for the joker. There have been times that players get so excited about the exchange of the tile for a joker that they forget to draw the tile first, but they do the exchange for the joker and then discard a tile. If someone notices that you do not have enough tiles, only 12 instead of 13, then your hand is dead and you will not be able to continue with the game.
May I have one of those jokers, please?
You may.
If I am certain what hand I am playing and I have all the flowers needed, I will have to discard a flower eventually. If this happens, then I will discard a flower fairly early in the game. If you keep that flower for later, then discard it. There's a chance that someone will call it for Mahjong.
West wind.
Ooh, I'll take that west wind. And flower.
But you have to expose it. You picked it
Oh,
up.
I am so sorry. I forgot about that. Okay. So there's my west winds and flower.
Whenever you pick from the table, you always have to expose your tiles. Dragons have matching suits. The Bams have a lot of green in them, so they have green dragons. There is a lot of red in the cracks, so red dragons go with the cracks. The white dragon is also called soap because it looks like a bar of soap. I tell people that the dots look like bubbles, so the white dragons go with the dots. If I am working on a definite hand and I have all the tiles in that grouping, I will place the tiles upside down. This shows me that I don't have to look for those tiles anymore, either in a draw or a discard. It also reminds me not to discard those tiles. A lot of times players will discard a tile that they actually need. If I only have one more tile to get for a grouping in a hand, either an exposed hand or concealed hand, I will place the tile on its side. This tells me when that tile is discarded, I can call for it immediately for an exposed hand without missing out of getting that tile. If the next player draws and racks her tile, then I missed out on that tile completely. I like to save my pairs for a little while, even if I don't need them. I will use them as bait. If no one has discarded those tiles before, then I will throw one of those tiles from that pair out on the table, hoping someone calls for that tile with a joker. Next time around, I will first draw the tile and then ask politely to exchange the tile I have for that joker. If no one picks up the tile, then you know that is usually a good discard. Before discarding a tile, always look around to see what others have out on their rack. You may be able to exchange a tile for a joker. If you discard that tile, no one can pick up that tile to exchange it for that joker showing. 5 dot. If I have jokers exposed on top of my rack and the tiles that I could use for the exchange have already been discarded on the table, those jokers are dead. When this happens, I will turn my jokers over so they look like a blank tile. This tells others that the jokers are no longer available. This is a table rule, and not everyone likes to play this way. When you get your card, highlight the concealed hands. This will remind you that you must draw each tile from the wall unless it's the last tile for Mahjong. I hope these tips and tricks that I use when playing will help you when you are playing your next game of Mahjong. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. A day without sunshine is just an extra day for crafting or playing a game.